Hi YouTubers, just lighting the pipe. This is Alan with a book review. I'd like to show you a pipe I've just finished making. First of all, a book review. The book review is about a book which I think is going to be a classic in the future. People will be reading this book 100, 200 years from now, maybe longer. And the strange thing is, it's a western. And I don't read many western books, very few, but this is a classic. I'll read you a little bit. It's the Lonesome Dove. It's the Lonesome Dove let me say this properly. Tetralogy. I can't even say it. Tetralogy. I said that wrong. Anyway, it's 4 books. Tetralogy. It's 4 books and they're all very thick books. All around 700 pages. There's a story of 2 Texas Rangers. Captain Woodrow Call, Captain Augustus McCrae. Brilliant novel. This is my second reading of it. I read it a couple of years ago and reading it again. I made a television drama about it, which was terrific. But the book is even better, much better in fact. There's lots more in the book that didn't come out in the television filming of it. And I'll read a little bit about what it says about it. It's a love story, an adventure, an epic of the frontier. Larry McMurtry's Pulitzer Prize winning classic, Lonesome Dove. The 3rd book in the Lonesome Dove tetralogy is the grandest novel ever written about the last defiant wilderness of America. Journey to the dusty little Texas town of Lonesome Dove and meet an unforgettable assortment of heroes and outlaws, whores and ladies, Indians and settlers. Richly authentic, beautifully written, always dramatic. Lonesome Dove is a book to make us laugh, weep, dream and remember. And I'm sure we'll all remember this in the years to come, and people will be talking about this 100 or more years from now, I'm sure. It starts off, the first book, let me show it. Dead Man's Walk. This is about the young couple, young rangers, as young men starting off trying to find work. They go and work for the newly formed Texas Rangers. The idea is they've got to try and keep the Comanches down. Comanches were raiding towns and villages and causing havoc. And who can blame them? I mean, it was their country after all. And Larry McMurtry talks very highly, in fact, about the Indian, about the Comanche in particular. Great fighting warriors. And he said, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that they had repeating westerns weapons later on, they would never have beaten. So the first book is about the 2 youngsters, and they set off. They're going across towards Mexico. They're going to annex a little part of Mexico, and on the way they get captured. Well, there's a lot, I won't go into it, but they go through terrible times. They were the Mexicans, walked them across, the soldiers marched them for hundreds of miles in terrible conditions. It's a long story of a long deadly walk where lots of them die, including the Mexicans. And a lot of it is based upon true story. There's a bit about where they have to choose whether a person's going to live or die, picking beans out of a box, which is black beans or white beans. If you get black bean, you die, a white bean, you live. That actually happened. There's also a character in it, what's his name now? Bigfoot. I can't remember his last name. It'll come to me later on. And he was a scout. And although well, I won't tell you anymore, they'll be spoiling the story, but he actually did exist. He was a real scout. And quite a few of these people that crop up in it, like Captain Goodnight was another fella. He was an actual Texas Ranger, a frontiersman, and a rancher. And these people actually did exist. So it's based something on truth, but there's a lot of fiction mixed in with it as well. So don't take it too literally. So that's the first book. The next book is Comanche Moon. This one doesn't actually, what happens in this book doesn't actually come out in the story on television. The story there, they left this out. They called it the series by different names. There was Dead Man's Walk, there was Lonesome Dove, Return to Lonesome Dove, and Streets of Laredo. Whereas in the books it's Dead Man's Walk, Comanche Moon, Lonesome Dove, and then Streets of Laredo. So they left this one out in the story. Very exciting, quite bloodthirsty and savage in places, but marvellously written. I mean, I really do encourage people to try and get hold of these books if they like reading. And the last one is The Streets of Laredo. In this one, Captain Woodrow Call is on his own, and he has to go after a young killer. And he's an old man by now, but he's still active. This is a person who's a very determined person. All the way through the book, from the beginning, you realise he can be quite savage, he can be quite ruthless at times, but he's a determined person who sticks to the law. You know, he does things by the law. Unless he loses his temper, then he becomes a wild beast. And Gus McKay, he often has to try and stop him going too far by throwing a lariat around him and pulling him off if he's attacking somebody. But it's a tremendous read. I mean, I would encourage anybody. It's going to be a long read though. Each book is around about 700 pages. And I want to show you the pipe I've just finished making. I made it out of mulberry. I haven't coloured it, it's a natural colour. I just polished it as it was. And as you can see, it's a beautiful grain to it. It's a lovely pipe. And I think if anybody is interested, I'd sell this one. They'd have to get in touch with me, give me a private message, and it would be very reasonable, just enough money for me to buy more wood and materials to carry on making pipes. By making them, I'm learning and improving all the time. So that's about it. A really good book if you want a nice long read. It'll last you a long time. Tremendous story, and you'll want to come back to it at a later date, I'm sure, as I have. And I hope you like the pipe. I don't know what mulberry smoke's like. I've never smoked it before. I never made a pipe out of it before. I haven't made anything out of mulberry before. But it has a beautiful colour once it's made. I mean, we eat mulberries anyway, so it should be no problem smoking out of this pipe. So that's it from me. Until the next time, this is Alan saying goodbye.